Hello YouTube world, my name is Nicholas Montez and you're watching my YouTube channel, The Teenage Movie Critic. And welcome back to my YouTube channel, everybody. I'm so excited to have you all back here again. Now in today's video, we're going to be doing something a little bit interesting today. So this past week, I was in Walt Disney World, and something kind of interesting. While I was there, not only did we get 2 new episodes of Daredevil Born Again, we got Disney World news while I was there, and while I was in Disney's Animal Kingdom, we heard about this announcement. We heard that Marvel Studios was going to be dropping some sort of announcement on March 26th. Nobody had any idea of what it was going to be, and they were saying it's going to be like bigger than the Robert Downey Jr. Doctor Doom cast. And the Marvel Entertainment posted a trailer, a live stream on YouTube, and it was a share that said Chris Hemsworth's name. So we were thinking, oh, this is going to be the announcement for Thor 5. And then it said another share with Vanessa Kirby, and so we're thinking, oh, this is probably the cast for Avengers Doomsday. And then they started dropping almost a lot of different names, from the other remaining Avengers to the Fantastic Four to the Thunderbolts, and kind of spoiling it. And then, of course, some new characters from other universes. So today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be discussing some of those characters, and we're going to be ranking them of how excited I am to least excited I am in a tier list. Hold up. Alright, so we have 5 tiers here with Let's Fucking Go as in the slogan for Deadpool and Wolverine. We have Good to Be Back, We Already Knew They Were Going to Be in the Film, Okay, I Guess, and Why Do I Care? Okay, I Guess is basically characters like, I'm not really sure what they could do with them, but I am excited that they're back. And then Why Do I Care? I am excited for them to be back because I care about all these characters, but I just don't really know what they could be doing. So yeah. Alright, so first up we have Chris Hemsworth's Thor. Obviously, I'm going to go ahead and put him in Good to Be Back. The last time we saw this character was in Thor Love and Thunder, which was in his last movie, and, you know, that movie has a lot of problems, but one of the problems isn't, honestly, and he was kind of bad in that movie, but I think Chris Hemsworth's Thor is great, and I think his reunion with a certain other character is going to be great in this movie, if we get it, because, you know, back in Infinity War, we thought we were finally going to see the reunion between Iron Man and Captain America. Did not happen, so that reunion can either happen in Doomsday or Secret Wars. We'll just have to wait and see. Then we got Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm. So yeah, about a week ago, they kind of announced that the Fantastic Four is going to be in Avengers Doomsday, and mainly because Doctor Doom is like one of the Fantastic Four's like main villains. So yeah, Vanessa Kirby, she's already going to be in it, and you know, we haven't seen her yet because she's going to be in the new Fantastic Four movie we're getting in July, about like what, 4 months from now. So I am excited to see her in it. And yeah, so I guess that's all. Same thing with Sam Wilson, Captain America. You know, he is you know, Ross in Brave New World. He put him in charge of making the next Avengers team. So technically the Avengers does not exist yet, but there's not really an official team. So we'll get to see him put that team to good use. I'm going to put him at the top of We Already Knew, because we technically already knew. But also, after that, Brave New World has a lot of problems, but I'm excited to see how he can be able to lead the team. That's the thing I'm really excited for. Next up, we have Winter Soldier, Bucky Barnes, or really White Wolf, since he's not really the Winter Soldier anymore. That's his villain name. This is a character that we've seen in a few projects recently. We saw him in Falcon Winter Soldier after Endgame. We just saw him in Brave New World, and now he's going to be one of the he's going to be one of the members of the Thunderbolts in May 2nd this year, in about a month. Obviously, the interesting thing about the Thunderbolts being in this movie is that it's kind of spoiling of who's going to live and who's going to die. Obviously, it seems like Bucky's going to live in this one. And honestly, it's kind of odd into where I want to put him, because I think since Falcon Winter Soldier, like, that project was deserved for him to be in there, because there's an arc for him that needs to be there. You know, this is the first time in a long time to where he's not, you know, being mind controlled by Hydra. He's not having to save the universe. He's fighting alongside Sam, but he was able to, you know, try to make amends, you know, get back in the world and try to make peace with the world he did not do well to. And that was a really cool story. And with Thunderbolts, I mean, I kind of feel like, sure, he's the longest running anti-hero in the MCU, but his arc seems kind of completed already. So what could he possibly be doing here? But honestly, I have to say, even if he doesn't really have an arc, like, it's kind of like Thor, you know? Thor keeps discovering his arc of who he needs to be. It's the same thing with Bucky. Like, Sebastian Stan plays this character really well to where he can play the menacing Winter Soldier. And yeah, he doesn't have the same power levels as that character when he's the Winter Soldier, but he's still so much fun and playful. Like, you see him interacting, and the way he's doing with his metal arm and stuff, putting it in a dishwasher, or, you know, using grappling hooks, using a little bomb shotgun or whatever. All that stuff is fun. So for me, I'm going to say it's good to be back, because I really enjoy Sebastian Stan as the character, and yeah, I'm just excited to see him again. Alright, next up we have Letitia Wright as Shuri, the new Black Panther. Last time we saw her was in Black Panther Wakanda Forever. And I'm actually not going to lie, I love this character. I think she was one of the best characters in the first Black Panther. I liked her little interactions we had with her in Infinity War with Bruce Banner. She was kind of involved in the Battle of Endgame. And then I think in Wakanda Forever, her character was like one of the best things about that film, and kind of making it a little bit comedic, but they did a story with her that I thought was so engaging, and I thought was really nice. And now that she's the current new Black Panther, I'm actually very excited for that. Now, we don't really know if she's going to be the current Black Panther for a long time, because, you know, we have T'Challa's son now. We have King T'Challa's son now. So, unless they decide to do a reboot after Secret Wars, where they are deciding to up the age of T'Challa's son to do it, to make him the new Black Panther, only time will tell. For now, I'm actually excited to see what Shuri is going to be like with the rest of the MCU. I don't know if she'll still be that heartbroken character that we saw in Wakanda Forever. Hopefully she's gotten over it and stuff, but I'm hoping that she could possibly put those feelings aside and maybe just have a little bit of fun with some of these characters. Like, we saw her interacting with Bucky a little bit, but to see her interact with Sam or Thor or a Yelena or any other character, or even a Beast, you know, characters like that would be fun. But also to interact with these other smart characters, I think would be fun. We never got to see her interact with Tony Stark, but we can see her interact with Reed Richards. So I'm going to put her in good to be back. Then we have Scott Lang, Paul Rudd's Ant-Man. I think this is a great character. Much like Thor and Bucky, he's another character that I don't really think he has a great arc. I think, really, like, the first Ant-Man was so great, his arc was pretty much satisfied. And then, you know, he had a new arc for Ant-Man and the Wasp after the events of Civil War. And now, after pretty much Endgame, he didn't really have, like, something to do besides he now knows about the multiverse and the threat that it has. So, but at the same time, it's still Paul Rudd. And depending on what story they can tell with him, I know that he will still make a lot of fun. And plus, He's freaking Paul Rudd. One of the sexiest mans alive. Well, he was. I think that place took to Chris Evans now. But yeah, I'm still gonna put him in good to be back, but it's gonna go at the bottom. Actually, no, wait. Yeah, actually, I'm gonna put him at the top of good to be back. Actually, I think he's the best of all these characters that's gonna be enjoyable. But I have to put him at the bottom. Actually, no, wait. Yeah, I'm gonna put him here. I'm gonna put him there. Yeah, I'm gonna put him there. Just because Bucky is part of Thunderbolts. He's also gonna have interactions with Sam. Scott Lang knows about the multiverse, and he's gonna be charismatic. And Thor, we get to see him reunite with Loki and possibly fight some Doctor Doom. Then we have U.S. Agent. This is gonna be a little bit kind of disappointing because for me, I love the U.S. Agent character. I really like him. I think he's one of the best Phase 4 characters we got in those projects. However, I don't really know what they can do with him in this film. Obviously, we know that he is surviving in this movie, in the Thunderbolts film with, Wyatt Russell. But honestly, like, I think, when we was first introduced in Falcon Winter Soldier, like, it was a cool, interesting arc because it showed us what if the government chose the Captain America that they wanted instead of the Captain America they should have chosen. And that was a really cool arc. He was just trying to be the best soldier he can be, but he had a different way of doing that, and it didn't really work out for him. And that was awesome. And now Thunderbolts is basically going to be the film where he gets redemption. And honestly, I have no idea what he's going to be able to do in Doomsday, or if he somehow dies in this movie, or in Secret Wars. I have no idea what he can do in this film. So, that's kind of my 2 cents on him. Unless, he's, like, just going to be there to help out in the fight. I don't really know much of what he can possibly do in this film. So, I'm just going to put him in Why Do I Care? I still really like the character. I want them to do this character justice, but I have no idea what they're going to do with him. Then we have Tecno Huerta as Namor. Kind of interesting they brought him back because, and I think it kind of makes sense because at the end of Wakanda Forever, Wakanda and Talokan are basically allies now. And of course, like any other fan of, Talokan, of Namor and Black Panther, I've always wanted to see what's Namor going to be like as a hero. But I kind of would have preferred to see that in a Black Panther movie. And granted, he is pretty powerful. He can destroy a tons of, like, ships and armies and stuff. And he has a pretty powerful army. Unless, Atuma or Namora decides to betray him. But honestly, besides that, like, I really don't know what they could do with him. So I'm going to put him okay, I guess, because I am excited that he is coming back. But I really don't know what they could do with him. Next up, we have The Thing, who is going to be introduced to the Fantastic Four movie. We already knew he was going to be in there because he's a Fantastic Four member, and I'm excited to see him of all the Fantastic Four members, really just in general. Then we have Simu Liu as Shang-Chi. Oh yeah, this is a character I'm excited for. Yeah, this is going in Let's Fucking Go. I am so excited for this character. I think the reason why I'm so excited for him is because you look at the multiverse saga and we've gotten so many different unique styles with things. We've gotten, of course, multiverse Spider-Man. We've gotten, multiverse Conquerors. And Shang-Chi is a little bit more of the unique side because you think, what is one of the best multiverse movies out there? Everything Everywhere All at Once. That's like a martial arts multiverse movie, and it's done with Asian people in it. And Shang-Chi is involved in something like that, except it's not done by the Daniels. But also I think that Shang-Chi there's a lot of problems. I think there's a few issues with that movie. One of the best things about it was Shang-Chi the character, but also he's just a pretty fun character that I would be so excited to see him interact with the rest of the MCU. We got a little bit of that in What If, with like the Transformers episode and the Western episode interacting with Kate Bishop, but we didn't really get to see him interacting with characters in real time besides like Wong or Bruce Banner or Captain Marvel. But we really didn't get to see him much. But to see him interact with characters like Bucky or Sam's Captain America or Thor or Ant-Man or something like that, that would just be so much fun, and I just cannot wait to see this character. Next up, we have Florence Pugh as Yelena, who is another one of our Thunderbolt characters. I'm actually going to also put her in Let's Fucking Go, because, to be clear, she is only been in 2 projects so far with the Black Widow movie and the Hawkeye show. And she's currently going to be one of the new members of the Thunderbolts team. And I think that in all the projects that she's appeared in, she's been one of the main standouts. And she's been great in all of the appearances she's been in. And I'm pretty sure Thunderbolts will be another successful film for her. And me personally, I think with every single project that they've done with her, she, unlike Bucky, where it doesn't really make sense to keep bringing him back, Yelena does make sense to bring her back. Now, once again, much like Bucky, I don't really know what she'll do, because in Black Widow, we saw her, it was her introduction to her. Hawkeye, we saw her as she's trying to kill Hawkeye and accepting that her sister is gone and she's not coming back. And then with Thunderbolts, she's trying to find a purpose in her life and that she is able to help people. And with Doomsday, I'm pretty sure I know she's probably just gonna be there for the fight, because she can't really do a whole lot besides punch really hard and shoot. But besides all of that, Florence Pugh plays this character to perfection, and to see her interacting with all the other MCU heroes, sure, she had a pretty dark story in Hawkeye and pretty serious as an assassin, but her little interactions with Kate Bishop in that show were just top tier and legendary. It was so funny, so charismatic. And the fact that she could play, intense assassin person, she's like Bucky, but better in a way. And to see her interact with all those characters and get annoyed by them, but also, mess with them a little bit, that'd be fun. She carries that charm and charisma that Natasha had, that I'm this is just so incredible. So I'm excited for her to come back. I think she's great, and she's one of the best characters that I loved in the multiverse sagas thus far. One of the best characters in Phase 4, in my opinion. Next up, we have Kelsey Grammer as Beast. If you don't know, this was the character that played Beast in X-Men The Last Stand, as well as in the post-credit scene of The Marvels. I think it's a little bit weird, because with our movie versions of Beast, I connect with the Nicholas Hoult version of Beast from the X-Men First Class films. So I don't really connect with Kelsey Grammer's version all that much, but I still do like his version. I think it was pretty cool, so I'll put him in Good to Be Back, but it's gonna go at the bottom, unfortunately. But yeah, Good to Be Back. Yeah, Kelsey Grammer played a good role for him, but that's all I can really say. Then we have Sentry, Lewis Pullman. Not really much to say about him other than okay, I guess. He's the villain. He plays Sentry in Thunderbolts. He's going to be the villain in Thunderbolts. Apparently, I'm guessing he survives. Not really sure why they're bringing him back, but I'm going to put him in okay, I guess. But I'm going to put him at the bottom just because I don't really know what exactly they could do with him. Is he going to be another member of the Thunderbolts? I have no idea. Danny Ramirez as the new Falcon. This is Captain America's buddy in Brave New World. We kind of already knew this because he's Sam's new number one man now, his partner, his new Riley in a way. And I'm pretty sure Sam would have easily put him on the new Avengers team if he will. So I'll put him at the bottom of we already knew, because honestly, I'm pretty sure it'll just be like what Brave New World offered, but a little bit of the same. Then we have Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm, the Human Torch. Yeah, we already knew this character was going to be in there. So I'm going to put him in we already knew. And yeah. Then we have David Harbour as the Red Guardian. This is also probably a character that's going to piss people off, but honestly, much like U.S. Agent, I am not excited for him now. And to be honest, I haven't been happy that he is going to be part of Thunderbolts. Now, don't get me wrong, I liked David Harbour's Red Guardian in the Black Widow movie. I thought what he was able to offer with that movie was really something special. The problem with this is I think every single thing we've seen Red Guardian after that has been kind of annoying. Like, the Red Guardian episode of What If with Winter Soldier, he was so annoying in that. I could not, like, he was yelling too much. And I know that's what he does, but he was doing too much of it. And it was a little goofy and cartoony, and I don't know, I couldn't really get into it all that much. I mean, I liked the episode, it was my favorite episode of the season, but I did not like it. I did not like it as much. And now, him joining Thunderbolts, it seems kind of odd because he's not really an anti-hero. Yeah, he was arrested for like a few decades, but I don't really consider him an anti-hero or anything like that. That's what Yelena is, and Bucky and Ghost and Winter Soldier or something like that. So I don't really know, like, and U.S. Agent. So I don't really know what they're gonna do with him. I'm pretty sure he's just gonna be there for the fight, like U.S. Agent is. So unfortunately, I'm gonna put him at the bottom of why do I care? And I'm praying to God that he's not as annoying in Thunderbolts, but I'm probably going to be wrong because I'm not a big fan of this character, unfortunately. Then we have Winston Duke as M'Baku. Not a character that I'm interested in. I'll put him on okay, I guess, mainly because I am excited they're bringing him back. And, you know, there is kind of a reason they should bring him back because he's technically the new king of Wakanda now. And Shuri's the new Black Panther. So the Avengers are probably going to need some help stopping Doctor Doom if he decides to bring an army. And yeah, and to see M'Baku come from that strong-filled warrior to now being one of the main members is going to be kind of interesting. So I'm going to put him an okay guess at the top. Ghost. Man, oh man. This is an interesting one because I'm excited to see Hannah John Kamen as the character in Thunderbolts. I think she's one of the characters that makes sense to come back. And I did like her character in Ant-Man and the Wasp. The problem is, I don't know exactly what she'll be doing in the new Doomsday movie. I have no idea. Because it does not make sense for her to come back. And like, granted, like, if I were to rank her, like, I'd probably put her at why do I care? I'll put her, like, here. Like, she's not as annoying as Ghost, as, like, Red Guardian. Because I think she'll at least have some good chemistry with some other characters. But honestly, like, don't really know I have no idea what they'll do with her character. So, yeah. She's a little weird. Plus, she's going to use her phasing powers again. Even some of that stuff in Thunderbolts is a little confusing, but I'm sure we'll understand how it works. We have Tom Hiddleston as Loki. Very excited that he's coming back. Last time we saw him holding all the branches of time at the end of Loki Season 2. And honestly, it's needed because we're probably gonna get the Thor and Loki reunion that we haven't seen since the beginning of Infinity War. So, for me, I'm putting him at the top of Let's Fucking Go, well, at the bottom, though. So, yeah. I think he's a great character, and I'm excited to see how big of a role he's going to play into this. And is he going to let go of those branches? We'll just have to wait and see. Patrick Stewart as Professor X. Kind of cool. because we technically already saw him in a MCU film in Multiverse of Madness. But it's freaking but much like Paul Rudd, it's freaking Patrick Stewart coming back as the character. And depending on which version this one is from, because obviously the one from the Illuminati universe is dead. Also, the one from the X-Men timeline with Logan is dead. And who knows what happened with the X-Men trilogy, Professor X, or even, well, I don't even know if he's alive anymore, or even the one from the First Class, or the Days of Future Past one. If that timeline is still thriving and fresh holding and all that good stuff, and we'll see how it goes. And maybe that's where it comes from, the Beast universe, and that's where it all came from. But honestly, not really sure where to go on this one. I'll put him in good to be back because it's freaking Patrick Stewart. Next up, we have Ian McKellen as Magneto. This one also struck me because I'm like, this was technically like a fan theory for years since Doomsday was announced. And then we see his chair, I'm like, no way. And it makes me a little bit conflicted because the last time we saw Ian McKellen's Magneto was at the end of Days of Future Past, and I think he died in that movie. So, unless the Beast that we saw in Kelsey Grammer at the end of the Marvels was a Fox universe, and that same universe has an Ian McKellen Magneto, then I'm going to be totally excited. But personally for me, I'm going to put him at the top of Let's Fucking Go because I think this character's goated. He's awesome. So, yeah, I'm excited. Then we have Alan Cumming as Nightcrawler. When I first heard about this name, Alan Cumming, I had no idea who this was. Was this character like a unknown character from like the first Iron Man movie or something? And I'm like, no, this is Nightcrawler from X-Men 2. And I'm not going to lie, I think it's cool that he's coming back, but I have no idea what they're going to do with him. I think it's cool that they're bringing a lot of different X-Men characters back, but me personally, this is one of the few characters that I'm just not really as excited for. And honestly, I'll put him at the top of okay, I guess, because I think of all the characters, he's probably the coolest one, and he has a lot more impact. But I don't really know what he could possibly be doing in this movie. Then we have Rebecca something, the original Mystique. When I saw this one, I was like, oh, wait, who is that? And I'm like, oh, is that Mystique? And then I'm like, oh, wait, this is the original Mystique from the original X-Men trilogy, not Jennifer Lawrence's version, which is kind of sad because I really liked Jennifer Lawrence's version, but this version of Mystique is kind of underrated. So, for credit's due, I'm putting it good to be back. I'm excited to see what they're going to do with her, and maybe they'll do something pretty cool with her. Next up, we have James Marsden's Cyclops. Last time we saw him was at the end of Days of Future Past, and one of the key things that was kind of famous for the X-Men franchise in general was we never really gotten like a really good like Cyclops character, Cyclops story or whatever. A good Cyclops, sorry, my computer froze. A good Cyclops story. And, I think that this, not only can this film make up for it, but we also saw in X-Men 97 that Cyclops was one of the best characters in that show. And, Cyclops is finally getting all the love in the world. And this film will finally prove that we can get that. So I'm going to put him in LFG. But I'm going to put him at the bottom, though. Because, I like James Marsden. And I thought the character was cool, but he was kind of underwritten. But I'm excited to see what they can do. And then we have Channing Tatum's Gambit, which was something I was not expecting. But makes a lot of sense because, you know, he was one of the best characters in Deadpool and Wolverine, and Channing Tatum played that character to perfection. In my opinion, this might be one of Channing Tatum's like best roles for film. And we saw in a deleted scene that he was looking at a Doctor Strange portal. So it looks like that portal is going to be him jumping into the new improved MCU, and he'll be joining the Doomsday to help along our heroes and help fight. As to where I'll put him, I'm putting him at the top of Let's Fucking Go. He is just one of the top characters. I'm super excited to see him, and he's one of my favorite characters of Phase 5 thus far. Then we have Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards. Not really sure where to place him. Well, actually, I do, because he was confirmed to be in the movie with the Fantastic Four. And, yeah, I'm excited to see him. I'm excited to see him in the Fantastic Four movie as well. And then finally, we have Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom, which, once again, his character's name is in the title, Avengers Doomsday. And we already knew he was going to be in the movie. So, as to where I'm going to put him, I'm going to put him at the top of We Already Knew. Because of all the characters in the list, in that tier, I am very excited to see Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom and to see what they can do with him. And that's it. Yeah, that's my list of all the characters I'm super excited to see, and all the characters that I am least excited to see, and how I think they're going to be used. So really my top characters I'm super excited to see are, of course, Channing Tatum's Gambit, Simu Liu's Shang-Chi, Florence Pugh's Yelena, Tom Hiddleston's Loki, Ian McKellen's Magneto, James Marsden's Cyclops, Letitia Wright. So for Let's Fucking Go, we have Channing Tatum's Gambit, Simu Liu Shang-Chi, Florence Pugh's Yelena, Tom Hiddleston's Loki, Ian McKellen's Magneto, and James Marsden's Cyclops. Good to be back. Letitia Wright's Shuri Black Panther, Chris Hemsworth's Thor, Paul Rudd's Ant-Man, Sebastian Stan's Bucky Barnes, Patrick Stewart's Professor X, Kelsey Grammer's Beast, Rebecca something Beast, Mystique. We already knew Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom, Anthony Mackie's Captain America, Iman Mas Baccarat, Thing, Joseph Quinn, Human Torch, Pedro Pascal, Reed Richards, Vanessa Kirby, Sue Storm, Daniel Ramirez, Falcon, I guess, Alan Cumming, Nightcrawler, Winston Duke M'Baku, Techno Horta Namor, and Lois Pullman as Sentry, and Why Do I Care, Wyatt Russell, U.S. Agent, Hannah John Common Ghost, and David Harbour, Red Guardian. So that's kind of my list of my anticipation with all these characters and lists. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.